What's in your wallet?
I'm so old.
I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5 explosive hot dog carts.
Ritualistic blood magic.
Laser shooting chesty statues.
Don't watch movies unless we tell you to. Welcome to Movies with My Best Friend Phil's Wife, movie podcast where we drag each other kicking and screaming into a movie that I swore I wouldn't pay money for and then ultimately paid way too much money for. I'm your host, Phil Kessel's wife's husband, Phil Kessel, joined as always by two of my very best friends, Will Chotis. Will, hello.
Hey, Phil,
Hi,
how you
don't
doing?
care. Also joined by Craig Norland. Craig Norland.
Hi, Phil.
Hi, don't care. Also joined by one of my favorite people in the entire world, the most greatest, wonderfulest person on the entire planet. Somebody I spend all day with. My wife, Jac. Hey, babe.
Hi.
How's it
That
going?
was very extra.
Was it extra?
Yeah.
I feel like it was not enough.
Ugh.
Did you? It's
you. Should
No,
we go,
it's-
Craig? Do you want to get going? We could just leave.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
this is actually
I
just
got
going to
stuff
be a
to do today.
podcast for me and Jack.
Oh, cool. Yeah. All right.
No,
So,
I
this
want it
is-
to be a podcast with everyone here who's played the video games
Which is all
for
of
this
us?
shit movie we just watched.
it's true.
Are we allowed to
Oh.
swear?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
If
You've
you
been
want.
on this show before. Many times. More that you are the number one guest on this show.
I think that might be true.
I have guessed
Yeah.
probably more than anyone.
I think you've been on this show
Insert
like
myself
seven
into this
times.
situation.
You
Oh
did a
yeah,
whole
because you had
month.
that whole month. Yeah. You definitely have been the show
Yeah.
on the show at least 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Apparently, I make you guys watch really shitty sci-fi movies.
Yeah, and that seems to be the
Seems to be the pattern.
theme.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, Jack,
Guys.
welcome back to the show. How's life been since, I want to say, the island of Dr. Moreau was maybe the
Yeah.
last time you were on?
Was the last time the listeners heard from you, other than some of the times when you've yelled from the other room. I want to say something other than at me, but I think most of the times it's been kind of a little bit at me.
Yeah, just when you say things that are wrong, I just automatically have to correct you. It's for everybody. It's not a you specific thing.
It
Yeah.
is, though.
Story of my life.
I was trying to be nice about it.
Okay.
Story of my life.
But yeah, so this might be the worst movie I've seen since The Island of Dr. Moreau.
All right. Very good.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. So I'm actually hoping to do some kind of magic here, because the last time I did this, we moved to Colorado 2 days later, and I'm
Mhm.
hoping that if I do this now, we'll sell our house so we can move back to Michigan.
All right. Well,
Yes,
fixing
we
the
did.
problem you created sounds good.
Yeah. We
Yep.
did. Okay, here's the deal. We did have a showing today. We do have a showing tomorrow. Tomorrow.
You guys-
we do have another showing on Saturday.
You guys got to get here in order to vote in November,
Yes.
because have you seen the I voted stickers that they
Oh no.
Michigan?
released? Yeah,
So
so they did a contest for Michigan. I'm gonna look it up, and they are awesome.
I feel like I've seen this.
Okay, I'm going to
Oh, yep.
I'm going to share my screen here so you guys can see this. Okay, so these are the
okay.
elementary school winners. I want you all to notice the one on the far left,
Yep, I love that.
which is
Yeah.
a werewolf ripping his shirt off in front of the American flag, and it says "I voted."
A ripped werewolf.
Incredibly
ripping their
whipped,
shirt.
ripped. Yeah, yeah. They look awesome. So if people don't know what I'm talking about, when you vote, you get the "I voted" sticker. Well, Michigan had a contest apparently, and there's other pretty good ones like this one here that says "Ope, I voted," and
I do actually really like that one.
Yeah,
I will grab the wolf one because I can't not grab that one.
yeah,
but I really like the "Ope, I voted."
yeah. I'm definitely getting the the werewolf one if they have it. Apparently, it's going to be. It's up to the voting registration or the voting ballot boxes to order them.
You got to be in a cool place,
yeah. Which I live in a cool place, so hopefully,
yeah. You got a good chance.
Pretty cool.
Oh, look what I can do! I can circle it.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like you're presenting. It's like you're our teacher.
Yeah, I'm like a teacher.
Will you teach us something?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. How did Gabby get on the best of?
It does just say I voted yay, and there is a simplicity about that one.
Well,
with the backwards E.
To be fair,
it's into.
So there are 3 tiers. There's the elementary, middle school winners, the high school winners, and then general entry winners. So I don't know.
The werewolf one is the overall winner by popular opinion, I think.
Yes, right? It should be.
Yeah. I mean, they all did great because they're kids and they showed artistic talent, but like the werewolf one's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, you got to get here by November, whatever, to vote, so you can get one of those stickers. Because I'm not sharing.
Got to register.
I'm gonna go with my son, my 5-year-old, in hopes that they give him one, so then I can take it, and I'll have 2.
I take all my kids' stickers.
Yeah. I mean, where else am I going to get
their
them?
Voted stickers, all of their stickers.
No, all their stickers.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if it's a scratch and sniff or a puffy sticker, that shit's mine.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. That's the way to be. That's the way to parent.
Yeah. You know, you gotta pay the taxes. You gotta pay the troll toll.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
My son had a birthday the other day.
Yesterday,
actually. But when people hear this, it'll be at least a week or so. And he got
a week ago.
He got a couple Lego sets, and the amount of self-control I had to not do them for him was I think I might deserve an award. Because he was...
Or a Lego set?
No, for not putting the Lego set together. Watching your 5-year-old son try and do it and not do it for him is the hardest I've ever worked at anything in my life.
The balance, having done this with my niece and nephew so many times, the balance of like, how much do I help and how much do I not do it for them is impossibly hard to maintain.
Yes.
Yeah.
My God. Because I love Legos and I just want them to, no offense, I just want them to leave so I can do it all myself.
I want to do it for him. Like my brother got him this like really cool Simba, like Lego that's like, a couple, like, I don't know, maybe 6 inches high, but it's like big and it's you can move its arms and legs around, and he only got to the torso.
I just Googled it. It looks awesome.
Yeah. And I was like, come on, man, you're going so slow. I want to play with the Simba.
Yeah.
And then it was bedtime.
Jonas got really into them.
Yeah.
Over the summer. So I got a couple of them for him, and I did really well in terms of not putting in and just being like, hey, I need to do this part. Like, if he actually needed help, I would be like, oh, hey, this is what you have to do. So, I don't know. I wasn't as big into Legos as you guys were, I think.
Oh, I was huge into Legos.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
My brother had like a bin of just random Legos.
Steve still has that bin.
Yeah, it's somewhere in our place.
I think so. Yeah. But I didn't have that creativity in me of just like building stuff.
Because you got that dog in you.
I got that dog in me. I did like Lincoln Logs though, which speaks to my being.
God, you're 100 years old.
something from my childhood.
I did like log cabins though.
Oh, I forgot to put in a door.
Yeah, my other favorite toy was the Jack in the Box, but I could only do it once or twice before it overstimulated me.
My third favorite toy was a block of wood. No paintings on it though.
Yes, that was for
my dad.
We used that one for smashing
would
rats.
Do that though. he would give us wooden toys because, history teacher.
Yeah.
And so we just had like the little flappy one, and then we had the little like puppet, like arms and legs fly around kind of thing, and a wooden top and a little like propeller one. So yeah, I had all those old timey toys because for some reason my dad was like, yeah, this is what you need. You play nothing but video games, so I'll give you some wooden toys.
Explains so much.
It does.
It's just all the pieces line up for all the listeners right now. Jack, were you a Legos person growing up? I know now you love watching me put together Legos so much.
Loves it.
Well, you get Legos and I'll get a puzzle, and that's like what we'll do.
You're a puzzles person.
I prefer puzzles. We didn't do really Legos growing up. The thing, though, that to this day we will not let my dad down, like let him forget about it, is the Easy Bake Oven. So growing up, we had an Easy Bake Oven. We never actually got to bake anything with the Easy Bake Oven. My dad's like, I'll just do it for you. I'll show you how to do it. So just know if you build the Legos, you might never get to live that down because your kids will remember it for eons. It will get brought up every time something remotely close to it happens.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen no matter what. I'm going to try my hardest, and then trying my hardest is going to be something worth ridicule somehow, and it'll just be like, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of being a dad is that you have to have at least like 5 life events that are held against you for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of Legos, oftentimes these sets can end up costing like a ton of money.
That is one big problem.
That is the biggest problem with them, and often
how do you pay for it?
I've been wondering that myself because oftentimes I'll go to the store and I will pick out some Legos and then I'll put it down the front of my pants and just walk out. And I read recently, I'm just discovering this, that you're not supposed to do that.
Really?
You guys,
is that a Lego Eiffel Tower? You just happen to see me.
God damn it.
Two things can be true.
Yes.
So yeah, apparently you're not supposed to just walk out of there. You're supposed to pay for things, which is a new concept for me. But I've heard that usually when you pay for things, you have to pull things out of a spot. And the last time I pulled things out of my pants at Target, I was asked to leave.
Yeah.
So Jack, do you happen to know how you what's the thing that you usually put money in? What is it?
A coin purse.
Oh, a coin purse. That's what I pulled out at Target, and they told me to leave.
Yeah, they did. I was actually there.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, did I hear wallet? That's right. It's time for the.
I knew that's what you were looking for, but I don't have a wallet. I have a coin purse that's shaped like a hot air balloon that I use as a wallet.
Oh, well. It's the segment where we reach deep into our best friend pants and pull out some recommendations. It's what's in your wallet.
That's also the shape of Will's coin purse.
Craig, will you pull out your hot air balloon and tell me what's inside of it?
Oh, sure. So, you have those rare times those rare times when you are playing like 3 different video games, like randomly. Okay, so I have a game that I play with Peter. I have a game that I play, like, my kids aren't old enough to play it, but it's kid friendly, so I'll play it while they're there. And then I have the dad's only game that are inappropriate for kids. And they all ended at the same time.
Is that the one where it's a dad dating simulator? Where you try and date dads?
Yes, that is a real game.
That's definitely not kid friendly.
So the 3 games, the one I beat today was the dad only game. That was the Cult of the Lamb. And I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but it's a little bit like a sim.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where you're building stuff, you're making your cult, as good as it can be, and sometimes that involves sacrificing your subjects, but you're trying to overthrow these elder gods in service of this banished god. And it's also like Slay the Spire, where I forget what they call those kind of games, where the map changes every single time. I think
Roguelike.
Hades is like that too. Roguelike.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit of a combination of both of those, but it's really fun. So that was my dad's only game. I've
been meaning to pick that one up because I think my favorite genre these days is the roguelite. And I heard that it only got better once they added more DLC stuff, so I was kind of holding off to buy it until like I could get the, I don't know, definitive edition, because like I hate that that's how video games work now.
I mean, I didn't play any of the extra stuff. I just did the base game so far, and I think there's enough meat on that bone to just get it on sale.
Yeah.
But it's just fun because you're a cute little lamb. And there's just blood everywhere. So there was that game, and then the other one I played was with Pete, and that was Mario Wonder on the Switch.
Yeah.
And that is where Mario turns into an elephant.
Yep.
As the new power up, and that's just lots of fun. And I'd say it's up there with the Mario games. It's definitely not my favorite the last couple years, but it's a solid addition to the 2D Mario, if you like those more than the 3D ones. And then the last one, and my real recommendation, is Astrobot. And that is on PS5 only. Sorry, Will.
Why are you calling me out like that?
Sorry.
Rude. So rude.
Yeah, I'm a poor. Okay.
Yep.
Guys.
So, when PS5 was released, they basically gave you a free game that was called Astro's Playroom. And it was kind of showcasing everything that the PS5 could do, motion controls and certain amounts, and just haptics, all that other kind of stuff. But it was in this cute little platformer, and people end up loving it for what it was, which, again, it's supposed to be like a demo, showing off the PS5's features, and people end up it resonated with people. So Team Asobi is the developer. They finally came out with a full game that's not a VR game. And it is probably one of the best games I've played in a long time, because I grew up on platformers. There's a lot of Mario in this game, but there's usually a gimmick in each level, whether it's like one of them is just you can shrink and grow with the device, and you have to solve puzzles using that. And there's just a lot of other really neat stuff. So definitely check that out. If you're not sure about the full game, try the Astro's Playroom instead, and just see if you like that. But I would definitely recommend that for people who miss the old platformers, because it's a lot like that.
Cool.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah, I was right at the tail end of the platformers. My favorite is like I grew up with like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, which were like Spyro was like that first 3D world, sort of like it was like it's hilarious to call that game an open world now, but like at the time you were like, oh my God, I can go anywhere,
Yeah, it felt huge.
Yeah.
Limited open world.
Yeah, it was very limited, but you could go but you felt like you could go anywhere. And then the other one was like, Crash Bandicoot, which was like a new twist on the 3D platformer.
Have you tried to play Crash Bandicoot recently? Or like semi-recently?
I played, they remade it, the Insanity stuff, and I did.
It's way harder than I remember it being.
It's way hard.
Dude, I remember it being impossible. I remember like Crash Bandicoot, the first one, still had like sort of like arcadey sort of had that sort of arcade sensibility where lives are incredibly precious, and even saving the game was something that you had to earn. Like you had to do a bonus thing to even save the game, and then you got just a code. And every time you restarted the game, like if you loaded your save, you went back to only having 3 lives. It was brutal.
Yeah.
I think I've beaten it. I never beat the original version. I beat they remastered it with the Insanity sort of whatever, the remaster that came out like 4 years ago. But that was because they like made a bunch of quality life to make the game like not make me want to like kill myself while playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they put in a rewind function?
I'm not sure if they put in a rewind function, but they at least made it so that when you beat a level, the game saved. You know what I mean? So that you could keep trying. And if you got a game over, it would just be, game, like how game overs don't really mean anything. It's like that now. Whereas before it'd be like, game over. You're going to go to your last save, which by the way was an island ago because you haven't been able to get 3 tokens and then beat the bonus level to get to the save point.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had the PS1, and for some reason I never had the original Crash Bandicoot. I just had 2 and 3. And I played those to death. And then the Insanity trilogy came out, and I'm like, oh, great, I'll just fly through these. So I beat the first game.
Yeah.
Because of the quality of life stuff.
Yeah.
But then I got to the second and third one. And I'm like, they actually did make this harder, right? Because there are certain levels I'm just like, especially the racing ones on the motorcycle. Like, I'm like, I can't do this.
Oh, no. Those motorcycle levels in the third game were always impossible. But the polar bear levels and the like riding on the tiger levels, those were my fucking jam. I ruled at those. Like, those were my favorite ones to play over and over and over again. That's how I got all the extra levels for when we do other stuff, is because I just play that and Hog Wild. Loved Hog Wild.
Oh, yeah.
It's from the first
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Anywho. So, and that's a hard thing, too, because there's a certain muscle memory to playing games a million times on the original hardware. And then when they redo it, it's going to be different. So I just remember the jumping different. So I just died a bunch of times.
I mean, of all the remasters out there, that was one of the few ones that still felt almost exactly the same to me, at least. And the Spyro one was the same too, where it was like, I was like, oh man, this game looks how I thought Spyro used to look.
I highly recommend that one. I still haven't finished Crash 4 that they came out with, because that is also very, very hard.
Yeah. All right, so what do you say, Phil? What's in your wallet?
Oh man, I have a good one, and it's I almost wish I was bringing it up after reviewing the movie, because what I've brought to the table is what I wish this movie was.
Oh,
do you guys ever watch a movie that's so bad and so much of a train wreck that you just love it and you have such an enjoyable time watching it, and you laugh
all
and
the
you
time.
Feel such joy? I watched a movie this weekend. Jack also watched it, but she was also playing Pokemon while we watched it, so I don't know how much she was actually paying attention. She can respond. I don't. You were like half in and half out, I feel like.
Was half in, half out. Yeah, for sure.
We watched Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Oh,
and I texted you guys about this.
Yeah.
This movie was absolutely unhinged. This movie was skyrocketed up to top 3, had to be, of worst, best movies, like best, worst movies I've ever seen. Craig, have you seen it?
I saw it when it came out.
I remember the previews, and I thought, I need to see this movie. And then for some reason, I waited 12 years to watch it. It is like it's a
classic
timeline. Classic Phil. This is I didn't.
You guys see this new movie called R.I.P.D.?
Yeah, I know, right? That movie was bad. Also, but not like this one. God, it was stupid, but I loved it.
It was just the right amount of if it didn't commit to itself so hard, it wouldn't have worked.
It commits so unbelievably hard, which is when I was reading people's reviews of it, that was the thing they were criticizing. And I'm like, that is the thing that makes it so lovable, is that it is so dumb and it commits so hard to this weird world where Abraham Lincoln is a vampire hunter and vampires are real. And the reason that, like, the South had slavery was because of vampires, not because of racism. I don't know. That was maybe a weird part of the movie that was like, maybe we don't unpack that part. But I just need to describe one scene to you guys. There's a scene where Abraham Lincoln goes back to this town, this port where he grew up, where there is this man who we found out earlier in the movie is a vampire. It's the first vampire that Abraham Lincoln tries to hunt. It's where he finds out that vampires are real. And I am going to give you some spoilies. Craig, you've already seen it. Will, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to give you some spoilies. I'm sorry.
I'm never going to watch
you really care.
I'm definitely paying attention. I'm definitely not doing some other work on the side while you're talking.
Yeah, totally fine.
Yeah.
He goes to the port. He goes to attack this vampire. Remember, they're right by the water. It's a port.
Like the drink.
They start the fight there. And then in true Dragon Ball Z fashion, they move about maybe 50 feet, and they're in the middle of a field with about 1,000 horses. They're riding these horses, and by riding, I mean, of course, they're standing on these horses, walking around on the horses as if it's flat ground. They drop off the horses. At one point, the vampire throws a horse, a solid living horse, at Abraham Lincoln, our former president. It hits Abraham Lincoln, our former president, a human, and he takes it in stride. He just gets back up.
That's Abe. That's honest Abe for you, man.
That's honest Abe. He's so honest that a horse can't hurt him, I think is what they were trying to say. The vampire then drags him while on the horse over to a cliff that's right by the field that's right by the port. And then what happens after that? He chops the bad guy's head off. It's an insane 2 to 3 minute sequence that makes no sense, and I about died from lack of oxygen because I was laughing so hard. So much joy from this movie. This is what I wanted Borderlands to be. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. It was one of those movies that, like, will go down as, if somebody's like, hey, what's a really bad movie? Like, what's a movie you love to hate? Like, what's a movie that is so bad it's good? This is the movie I will now think of first, is Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. He chops a tree down in one swing because he's Honest Abe, because that's the bit. He chops the cherry tree down or whatever. But he does it with an axe, and it's like they do it in the because truth is stronger than trees or something. I don't know. It's a phenomenal experience to watch this movie. I really had so much fun. It was just pleasant. I had a really good evening, and I didn't even imbibe in any mind-altering substances. It was just a great time. I was just laying on the couch, just vibing. More things should be like this.
Right. Most things should be bad now.
Most things should commit to what they are.
Yeah.
Most things should be allowed to commit to what they are and be allowed to live in their vibe.
That's true.
This movie did that.
How many times do you think that people make movies? They're like, well, this is a big pile of shit, but people are going to see this.
All the time.
All the time.
Most of the time.
all the time, constantly.
90%
10
of
Marvel
the time.
movies ago?
Yeah. 95% of all movies that have ever happened.
I mean, I don't know how often it happens while making it, you know? Because I feel like everyone, if you're an actor and you are working on a film, I feel like no matter what the film is, you are always secretly thinking in the back of your mind, like, this is going to be bad. I think, you know what I mean?
Like, you can't see all the parts of it.
Yeah, well, that's, I think there's, it was Caitlin Olsen, I think is her name, who plays,
Dee?
No, not Caitlin Olsen. What is the Olsen twins' older sister who plays Wanda? Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wrong
Younger
Olsen.
sister.
Younger sister. That's right. She was like, yeah, making the Marvel movies feels stupid. Because she's like, you stand there and you're on a blue screen and you have to pretend like your life depends on it, that you're shooting magic electricity out of your fingers. And if you, for 1 second, let your brain go, what the fuck are you doing? You know, it ruins it, you know? And so, yeah, I just feel like, you know, like even watching this movie that we watched, Borderlands, like you have to commit 100% and you can't let your brain go like, what we're doing is incredibly silly, because it is. Like that makes me think of that one clip of Christian Bale, like losing his mind on somebody who's doing work during filming the Terminator movies, you know? Do you guys remember that clip?
Yeah.
And I'm like, of course he's getting upset because what he's being asked to do is impossible. You know, he's being asked to pretend that he's the savior of humanity standing in the rubble of like, and he's standing on a blue screen and everyone is just wearing normal clothes and talking like normal people. And he's saying the most ridiculous stuff while dressed like, you know, he doesn't belong at all. And so like, yeah, of course he's going to get mad when someone takes him out of it because it reminds him that what he's doing is incredibly stupid. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I sort of have empathy for him, like getting upset. Also, like, what the fuck? Stop hammering. Anyways, hey Jack, what do you got in your wallet?
I have been playing an obscene amount of Pokemon Legends
Arceus? Arceus, I think. No.
Arceus, okay. Yeah,
I watched a whole movie about this guy, and I don't remember.
Nice. But I'm like at the point that I've finished the story, and I'm now just going through and trying to 100% my Pokedex. It's actually slightly problematic and obsessive at this point, but it's a lot of fun.
I love that game so much.
Phil seems unbothered by this.
No, it's great.
Yeah, I just play it all the time.
It's great. It gives me time to
watch shitty movies.
And watch shitty movies. So we watched movies this weekend. It was great. We never watched movies.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoy that video game. It is exactly what I want Pokemon to be.
Yeah.
Which is just like running into the woods and like being like, I'm a 12-year-old. I'm going to throw a Pokeball at this giant rhinoceros monster. And then it comes charging at you and knocks you on your ass. You're like, I'm going to die.
I'm going to go throw this ball at God.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is like you at one point just catch God and you can make God fight gophers. It's just like, what are we doing?
There's so many gods in the game. There's like 3 games for the 3 gods in the story mission. And then after you finish the story mission, this girl in like a gothic dress, like from the gothic period dress, is like, hey, go find these other 3 gods for me. There's a lot of gods in
I know. There's actually like, that's my biggest complaint is there is like, in the first Pokemon, you know, because I'm a Gen 1er, there was like, 4 legendary Pokemon? There was the 3 birds and then Mewtwo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Arceus, it's like you got the little lake god guys, you got that lava dude, you got both Dialga and Palgiga, and then Arceus is one, and then Galargangog is one, and then there's like other ones that I've never even caught before.
And then Bidoof.
Bidoof.
Even.
Strongest of them all.
Yeah. But yeah, no, there's like so many legendary, and all of the lake gods are like, it's like, here's a water, they're all like the same, and it's just like, I'm never going to use these guys, and they look terrible. They don't even look cool.
They look like slimy. I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
they look like underdeveloped frogs.
Yeah. Anyways, that's a really fun game, though. It really is.
Do you have a favorite Pokemon?
Do I have a favorite Pokemon in that game?
In the game, yeah.
That is a good question. I definitely like not Bidoof. What's this first? Yeah, Bidoof. I like Bidoof quite a bit. I think he's very funny because he's just like a beaver.
Yeah.
But oh man, I feel like I have to. The other one that I used all the time, I don't know if he was my favorite, but I liked using him, was Rhyperior, which he looks like he's like got like flotation devices. He's the evolved form of Rhydon that they added for that game. But I also just, you can't go wrong with the Ghost Typhlosion, the derpy purple Ghost Typhlosion, which is the Cyndaquil turned to Quilava Typhlosion. Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah.
Drifloon.
No. It's one of the starter ones you can get. Cyndaquil is the first stage.
Oh,
The fire one. When you choose the fire one, and its final form is Typhlosion, and they added a version of it, so now it's Ghost, and he's just like got like a necklace, and he just seems like he's high. I don't know. I like him.
Fair.
What about you? Do you have a favorite Pokemon? No, shut up, Craig. Do you have a favorite Pokemon?
Yeah, right now I got a shiny Ponyta that I've evolved to a shiny Rapidash, and its flames are purple.
Yes.
And so I like it because it's pretty. And I mean, the fire Pokemon are pretty cool. Except for they're kind of weak to a lot of shit, so they kind of suck. Actually, Machoke's where it's at because it could just take down everything. But my Machoke's at a level 99.
I don't understand how the weaknesses work at all. I am constantly shocked when I get critical hit. I'm like, what happened? I'm poison type. What did it use? Fighting? The fuck's that got to do with anything? Why am I dead?
It's weird. Your Machamp is just like, it fucks everything up.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Machamp? Machamp's the third one, right?
Yes. With the forearms.
That's the one I got to like level 99.
Yeah, he just destroys everything.
Well, at level 99, you can do that.
I've been watching since like day 1. She's had him since like day 4. He's been wrecking everything since the beginning.
That's a cool one.
He's been pretty cool. Historically, Growlithe has always been my favorite.
And Growlithe has changed in this one.
I think he looks very cool. I think they made him look like a British Parliament member.
Oh,
with his like his
apron thing.
Yeah, his apron beard thing. He looks like a what's the word for a lawyer in
barrister?
British?
A barrister.
Yeah. I like him. He's cute.
Jack, I sent a video to Phil that is a very, very funny video about that game. So you can watch
It's very good that you mentioned that because I 100% already forgot it and you literally just texted it to me.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Will,
what?
What's
Will?
your wallet?
Oh yeah, we're still doing that.
Money butt?
So I don't have anything new. I am like literally I am where I was like 2 years ago. I'm listening to old episodes of Get in the Trunk.
Okay.
And
they started a new season. Have you started it yet?
Well, I don't.
Or are you waiting?
I wanted to re-listen to everything to catch up because I also just enjoy it.
I feel you.
So I haven't caught up yet, and I've just been playing.
I'm also like I kind of want to do like a binge of at least the last season because I listened to that as it came out.
Yeah,
I feel like I need to binge it so that I can get the story again.
So what's in my wallet is essentially just Arkham Knight, which is something I've already recommended, but I've been playing it again, which is the third game in the Batman Arkham series.
Is this the one with the tank?
This is the one with the tank, and nobody likes the tank except for me. I love the tank. My favorite thing is that, and I've said this before, I love that the first game is like what it's like to be Batman when he's in full detective mode. You know what I mean? Like he's not super powerful. He's not, he can't like take anybody down, but like, well, he can take plenty of people down, but he's mostly doing like detective work and all this stuff. And in the second game, it's much more the vigilante Batman flying from rooftop to rooftop, being kind of more of a ninja or something. Mm-hmm. And then Arkham Knight, he is the paramilitary jingoistic Batman that is like dominated what people think Batman is for the past couple years. And
he's also kind of the like Batman we grew up with in terms of the like commercials with the toys.
Yeah, he's got all the toys. He's also like just the most negging father figure to like 16 teenagers in this game. And it's funny because like they like sort of hint.
It's so interesting that you connect with that.
I know. In the first game, like Robin, I don't think is at all in it. Oracle is in it, but she's like, you never see her. In
Right.
the second game, like I think you see Robin once and Nightwing like once, but that's it. And then in this game, you see Nightwing, you hang out with Robin, you hang out with Oracle, and the whole time he's just like, you're not trying hard enough. Stop making jokes, Dick. God. It's like, and then like at one point he's like, by the way, I'm gonna die. I'm proud of you. Bye. And you're just like, come on, Batman. Jesus.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I love the mission. Like my favorite part is that it's also like so pro police. It's ridiculous. But I do love that you can like, you take the bad guys to lockup, you throw them in the Batmobile, you drive to the GCPD and you pull them out and you like shove them in the jail cell and like have little conversations with them and stuff. And I don't know. It feels like a different aspect of Batman. It doesn't feel like a retread of what Arkham City was. It feels like an evolution. I can understand why people are like, this is not what I think Batman is. But that's kind of why I like Batman and why I like comic book characters, superheroes so much, is because they are so malleable. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, Batman is Adam West. That's Batman. Batman is the animated series. Batman is all these different, he can be whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and that's...
Batman is all of us.
Well, that's not quite what I mean. I mean more like, the thing with comic books is, unlike other mediums or some mediums where it's like there's one author sort of guiding the story, with comic books, or at least these long-running superhero comic books, it's a new writer every few years. So, like, different people have different... Like, the whole idea of Batman being, like, a gritty, like, I'm going to punch you in the face, kind of, like, and, like, break your teeth is a Frank Miller thing. And that happened in, like, the 80s. That wasn't what Batman did before,
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, it all evolves, and it's all... It's so, you like, when I was reading a lot more comic books, people would be like, who's your favorite comic book character? I'm like, well, I kind of don't have a favorite comic book character because Batman in Zack Snyder's hands I don't like, but Batman in Christopher Nolan's hands I do like, to give it a more of a movie spin. But
yeah,
so like, yeah, I don't know, that's part of why it's fun to play in this one, because I'm like, yeah, this isn't necessarily the type of story I like, but it is fun to just be like, you just like, well, the thing that the game is dark, and I don't know if it knows it's dark. I feel like it does, because there's like, you'll be like flying over rooftops and you'll hear like a rider be like, can you believe it? Last time I saw Batman, he broke both my ankles. And the game will like have a way for you to tell who's talking, so you can find that guy and break both his ankles again.
That's so dark.
God, that's messed up.
Yeah, I know. Well, like that makes you realize, you're like, oh yeah, like Batman doesn't kill people. So like I could be, and like, there are constantly bad guys everywhere in the game. It's like I could be maiming the same like 8 men over and over and over again, and just like, and like, I'm assuming Gotham is in the United States, so there isn't free healthcare for these guys. Yeah. So like I'm like ruining their lives, and like putting them in debt, which then makes it so that they can't make any money. So then they turn to crime again, where I beat them up and break all their bones again.
Yeah, if you put Batman has to be in Gotham,
Yes.
and it has to be in Gotham, not Gotham, United States.
Yes.
Because if you put it in the United States, Batman is unequivocally the worst supervillain in the area.
Well, it's also funny because he's a billionaire. So it'd just be like if we found out like one day that like, you know, Mark Zuckerberg was like dressing up like a bat and beating up poor people.
Which I can totally see.
I know. And you'd be like, oh, wow, you're the worst person alive. I already had no respect for you.
Yeah.
Anyways, Batman's a funny character, and I love him.
Like Bruce Wayne's supposed to be somebody who does do good.
Yeah.
Or like the Wayne family is supposed to do good for
it's
Gotham.
also,
so it'd be more like if Bill Gates was going around beating the shit out of poor people.
Yeah, but
which is somehow funnier.
Well, but I just love that people are like, I wonder who Batman is. He's got like millions and billions of dollars worth of gear and equipment. Gosh, how many rich people are in this town? Well, there's Bruce Wayne. Well, it can't be him. Why can't it be him?
Can't be him.
He likes to party. Oh, well, that's out the window. Can't be Bruce Wayne.
Couldn't be him. He was drinking.
Yeah, I saw him fall asleep in a fountain once. Oh, were you sure it was him? Well, I don't know.
Did you see him afterwards?
Yeah,
no,
falls
but he
apart.
Seemed tired the next day.
Yeah, it's because all the Detective Comics characters like alter egos fall apart immediately.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because it's like Superman. He's like, man, I need an alter ego. Somebody I can be so no one will know that I am Superman. I know. I'll choose a public figure, Clark Kent, the reporter.
And
you idiot. Yeah, and I'll put some glasses on and no one will ever know.
Put some glasses on and I'll just go like this.
Yeah, I'll change my posture too. And it's like, oh, okay. Anyways. Speaking of changing your posture.
Speaking of not looking like the character that you are.
Yes, we watched a movie. We watched Borderlands, which is a 2024 American science fiction action comedy film, co-written and directed by Eli Roth and based on the video game series developed by Gearbox Studios. It stars Cate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Edgar Ramirez, Ariana Greenblatt, and Jamie Lee Curtis. It is 101 minutes long. How do you think this movie is sitting on Rotten Tomatoes, Craig?
3%.
Okay. Phil?
I have kind of been following it. I don't know where it's currently sitting though. I know when it first dropped, it was very low, and then I feel like I saw it jump up a little bit, but I don't know if I'm allowed to guess because I know where it was at one point.
Okay, we don't need your whole journey, just a number.
So when I was born,
okay,
7.
Jack, how do you think it's sitting?
It's at 9.
Jack has it. It's at 10.
Went up a point from when I last looked at it.
With a 52 audience score.
How? How and why?
Yeah, so the tagline from IMDb is an infamous bounty hunter returns to her childhood home, the chaotic planet Pandora, and forms an unlikely alliance with a team of misfits to find the missing daughter of the most powerful man in the universe. I did not pick this movie. Phil kind of didn't pick this movie. Jack, you're technically the reason why we're all here today. Why?
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 Okay.
Why?
I picked this movie.
Why?
First of all, I knew it was, like, everything going into this, I knew it was bad. It was filmed, 3 years ago, and then they had to do, like, reshoots, and it sat on a shelf. Like, they were like, we don't even want to release this shit. But it's a video game that I absolutely love and cherish. I think I've played through all 3 of the video games twice now. Actually, all 4, because I played
times.
3 times. We played through
I
them
think
3
we played
times.
through them 3 times.
3 times, yeah. And then Tiny Tina's Wonderlands twice.
What about pre-sequel?
Which I didn't like the zero gravity function of the pre-sequel, so I started it but never really finished it. I just didn't like the mechanics of it. But I really love the video games. And if they wanted to, they could have done a really good movie.
Mm.
They just apparently did not want to.
Yep.
So, and I wanted to watch it because I just wanted to be mad at it, but the sad thing is I was just disappointed.
Yeah.
It was so...
I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
It's the worst.
It wasn't... Thanks,
okay,
here,
Mom.
I'll give a reference.
Mm.
I actually genuinely love the Resident Evil movies. They have nothing to do with the video games. Like, it makes absolutely no sense in terms of the video games. But they are so fun to watch. Like, they're bad movies, I get it, but they are so fun. And I was kind of hoping for that with the Borderlands movie. But this was just... It was boring. The movie was so goddamn boring.
Yeah. Dull is the word I would use.
Yeah.
Yeah. Caitlin fell asleep
Lifeless.
while we were watching it. And she hasn't done that in a long time.
Lifeless.
Craig, how did you feel about this movie? We didn't watch it together for the first time in a long time. I had nobody to hold my hand, which was too bad.
Veronica said at the very end that she was like, hey, that was very dull. It was very, very bad. I was like, oh, okay. And I can never tell how she feels about movies sometimes. Because she chuckled at a few parts. I think I chuckled at a few parts. There
were a couple of
so
parts.
Here's what I'll say.
No, you're wrong.
When this movie actually tries to be Borderlands, like the game, which is so minuscule, it barely does it. But when it actually does do it, it's kind of fun. But they don't commit to it at all. It's like they took the game, stripped it of all its character, and they tried to put in these weird, not like fleshed out backstories to try and give this some sort of pathos, but it doesn't have any.
Yeah.
Everyone is so severely miscast, it's not even funny.
Well,
okay. Can we? All right. Okay. All right. I have a lot of thoughts.
Yep.
I know we're doing the whole, like, we go through each person, but I need to just say, I need this out here. I need a little bit of, like, deliverance on the casting thing, because before this movie came out, everyone was giving Kevin Hart so much shit, and they were giving everyone else not a lot of shit. Most of the shit was directed at Kevin Hart, and they were saying, oh, he's too short to play Roland. He's too much of a comedy actor to play Roland. You know who the worst person in this movie was? You know who the worst casting job in this movie was? Fucking not Kevin Hart.
Yeah. I
honestly, he was maybe one of the best at playing the character that he was cast as.
Yes. It was the least Kevin Hart I've ever seen out of Kevin Hart.
Him.
Yeah. And most movies he just plays himself, and I thought he did a pretty good job at playing not Kevin Hart. That's not really a compliment.
Yeah.
No. But it's the closest thing we can get to for this movie for casting.
Yes.
Like the only other thing was, like, Jamie Lee Curtis seems fine for Tannis, except for, like, Tannis is, I think, supposed to be younger, but it's like, fine, I don't really care about that. Also, Jack Black is a fine casting, except for the fact that it's a voice acting job, and there was already a voice actor for the part.
And he did his voice to match Claptrap's voice. Like,
he did a great job.
He did Jack Black's voice. He did Claptrap's voice.
He did a great job for the most unnecessary casting of all time.
Yeah.
It would have been. I was thinking about that the other day randomly. I'm like, if they just had Claptrap's voice, this would have helped the movie a lot.
So okay, I'm just going to go into
this. It's literally a voice actor that already was doing the part.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it already exists. It's
Jesus.
Yeah. So this movie was a weird watch for me because like while watching it, Caitlin's never seen the Borderlands. Well, she's never played the Borderlands games, right? So like this movie is such a weird movie to watch if you're a fan of Borderlands because they don't even get any of it right. Like the tone is wrong. It's none of the characters' backstory. Well, the characters barely have they have backstory in the game, but it's not important. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not. So it's like weird. So like Caitlin was like, wait, who is she supposed to be? And I'm like, well, okay, so she's playing, or like Roland is a character from the first game, but his character really doesn't become a character until the second game because in the first game he's a playable character, so he just kind of is nobody. Like, you know what I mean? Because some people won't because he's not actually important to the. So it was like hard to kind of parse out.
Yeah.
And so like watching it, I kept having to think like, okay, like. Let's just forget everything I know about Borderlands, I guess. And then when I did that, I was like, okay, I'm imagining I'm watching this knowing nothing about Borderlands, and it's still such a snore, It's like, and like I wanted to hate it, like, but I came away with kind of nothing to say about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's really weird because it's like it didn't actually like commit any big sins. Like the big sins it committed were on a character level based on my knowledge of what the character should be in a Borderlands IP, right?
Fair.
So
okay.
like all of the stuff I really was getting angry about are like fanboy sort of criticisms, But all the other things, like the movie still it felt like a movie where it's like, okay, we have all the parts of the car and we've put them all right here. And what we're going to do is leave them right there. And that's our movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, it just like had all the parts, but like they were like held together with just nothing, And it like, and so like at the end, it felt so embarrassing for the actors for them to be like, hey, we had a great journey together. I'm like, no, you didn't. You guys wouldn't like each other at all. All of this is forced. I don't care about the backstory. You went Super Saiyan. Who cares? I hate this. I want this to be over.
Yeah. That's like, I so wish that they had taken a bigger. It feels like they thought they took a big swing.
Yeah. I mean,
but they didn't take any sort of swing at all.
I mean, the thing is this felt like a video game movie that came out in the 90s where the person who had only seen like concept art, who'd only seen like trailers, had never actually played the game, and like just tried to do their own reimagining, and they just like threw in names like Tannis and Claptrap and this and that, and you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And like, but like the thing that makes Borderlands fun, or rather when it came out, what made it so fun was it was incredibly colorful at a time when when everything PlayStation, like that PlayStation 3 era was like trying to be as realistic as possible, Everything was like gritty. We were still very in the 24 like grittiness nonsense kind of, and then Borderlands came out and it was this like brightly colored, hyper violent, like unnecessarily violent game.
Yes.
That the whole fun of it was just that everything was over the top. Your weapons are over the top, everyone's screaming over the top, and it lives in this world that is incredibly cynical because you live in this like desolate wasteland planet, but you're constantly being bombarded with like corporate like items and things like that. So for it to come out in like 2000, what was it, 10 or so, like right in the middle of like the recession era, it was maybe more like 2000.
It was 2009, I think.
2009 still, but like we were in the middle of a recession where it's like, oh yeah, we're all poor as shit, but we still have these big fucking corporations that are giant and like impervious to anything. You know what I mean? Like it just felt like this perfect sort of, and it was very cynical, you know? And they did nothing to sort of play into that world. You know what I mean? It was just very much like, hey, we're going to an alien planet that's got alien stuff on it. You know, and it wasn't hyper violent. And like,
no,
yeah,
not
and like
at all.
A fun, interesting,
specifically like it was done on purpose to not be hyper violent. It was, Jack, would you say he like specifically
Eli
went
Roth
into it?
Wanted to make it more of like a family movie, like a movie you saw when you were 13 years old and just loved. So he made it he never wanted it to have an R rating, which is the dumbest thing in the world with the IP that you're using.
I do think there were, Craig, you had mentioned it. There's a couple moments where they did have a feel that was vaguely of Borderlands, of playing the game. I feel like one of them was when they were in the were they in the sewers or whatever it was, where they were like, there was a shootout.
Yeah.
And I remember they were like going up steps at the end, and they like threw in a grenade at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And like there was a point where Lilith had a flamethrower, and Jack, I kept like bumping you. I was like, "Oh, she's got fire. She's got fire. She's got fire. She's got fire." Because it's like it's Lilith. It's fire. Yeah. It's like a whole thing. Like that moment, that shootout, I was like, okay, this feels kind of Borderlands. Like there's guns blazing. There's fire. There's like shooting going everywhere. It wasn't perfect, but it was like, okay, I will give it to him for this scene. Kevin Hart's being pretty Roland-y. Like there's something here at least. I'm trying to grasp at something.
So I would say in that specific scene or cut sequence, whatever it's called, the gun choreography was just, it made absolutely no sense. Like it was just like Kate Blanchett's arms were just swinging like windmills shooting the gun, and I'm like, it doesn't even look right.
I'm trying.
I mean,
I would say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to talk about how Kate Blanchett's character was I hated every second of her. I did not care for her.
I hate to say it.
She was so unlikable. She was just such a tired trope at this point, you know, of the whole the reluctant hero, like, I gotta go back to my hometown. I got everyone there's
gotta save this little kid.
I guess I'll be a hero today. I'm the chosen one. I guess I'm the best. You know, it's just I
didn't like her, but Tiny Tina takes the crown for the worst for me.
Oh, she was hard because like
the characterization just felt off.
She was weird. She wasn't it felt like she couldn't, the actress who played her couldn't get a grasp on what she was supposed to be doing at any point. Like
I don't think the character was written.
She didn't make any sense. She was supposed to be like the little girl in Waterworld, but have like a manic sort of like insanity side to her character, but also be like, she was all over the place.
Tiny Tina was not. Sorry, Jack, you go ahead.
Well, that's the thing, is like Tiny Tina's supposed to be like borderline a psycho.
Yeah,
and she couldn't be that because they made her a fucking clone that was raised in corporate.
That was
like life. Which made absolutely no sense. And okay, hold on, real quick. Why did they take the handsome Jack in Angel's storyline and just kind of give it two different characters to play through, and then took one character that we loved and fucked it up like that?
Tiny Tina was not the person to like. She's a fun character, but it was not the character to balance this entire movie on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just crap. That's the problem. It's just like crap. It felt like such a like corporate book by numbers slog. It was so uninteresting, uninspired. Like it was muted version of.
I think what I would have. There's so many things to have done differently. I don't know if there are bones here to salvage, personally. Were I to scrap the whole thing,
I think there are bones to salvage.
There's some bones, I'm sure.
So the problem is they're trying to do too much. They're like,
Fair.
I wish they had gone, if they were going to take the IP and just like run with it, like I'd rather they do something like Super Mario Brothers, the movie. You know what I mean? Where they just take names and do completely different things with it. But the problem is they were trying to like refashion, they were trying to make, so they took like Tiny Tina and they were trying to make her something she wasn't, while also trying to maintain what made Tiny Tina interesting. And so they just like sort of pushed together these two ideas, and you're like, these aren't compatible, these two ideas at all. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make any sense for this to be what's happening, you know?
Yeah, and you could say that about literally every character in this, except maybe Krieg, the psycho. Who has no lines other than his lines from the game, which are wonderful.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, but
because he has no real character in the movie, and that's fine.
So this is the thing that I find very interesting. When you're playing the video game, the psychos are running at you, and you're not thinking to yourself, why are you like this? What made you be like this? You're just like, I'm going to shoot you in the face because that's what this game is for. Do you know what I mean? But when you're watching a movie with a psychotic character like that, and they're like, oh, he's just a psycho. And you're like, well, now hang on. You can't just say that and have me go, oh, okay, well, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like they don't ever, did he ever get any explanation as to why he was the way he was or what a psycho is?
Do you know the video games, yeah.
In the video games, DLC. Yeah. But in the movie, no.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah. Though, like in the video game, you understand where he comes from because of this and that and the other. And like, but those are all things like if you want to dig for it, it's there, which is how.
Movie? No.
But for a movie, you can't have a character that's just like, it'd be like if like somebody in the game was like, oh, he's the librarian. And he just does librarian things, and we get nothing else other than that. You're just kind of left going like,
or it'd be like if in the movie Aliens, if there was also an alien on Ripley's side that everyone was just like, oh yeah, no, that one's on our side.
Yeah,
no explanation,
no explanation as to why. Yeah,
we're just fine with it.
Yeah, so I was.
I liked who they got for Marcus. Because I thought it was actually him at first, the voice actor. It's not, but like he was great. That part where she's in the bus, I'm like, hey, this reminds me of the first Borderlands when everyone's in the bus.
Was the only character where I turned to Caitlin and went, this guy is the only guy done exactly correct. This guy is exactly how he is in the games.
I was down for that.
And he looks and sounds and is just as small of a part as he is in the games.
That's the thing is like, Claptrap, Tiny Tina, these are characters that have the Hulk problem, and that is if you have them in it too much, it's going to ruin this. Like they are good in small doses. They're not meant to be the thing that holds your movie together.
This is exactly when I saw the cast list. This is exactly what I was thinking. Was like these are all the characters that I'm like. None of these make sense for the characters to hold a movie together.
Yeah, Tiny Tina is a DLC character. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like both of them are.
The two that would hold it together are Lilith and Roland.
Yes.
Which, canon-wise, spoiler alert, they're both dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except we don't know if Lilith's dead based on the trailer for the fourth
based on the trailer for 4, maybe not. But like, Roland is.
Yeah,
sure.
When he had so Kevin Hart's character
he's just a regular human
has a moment where he dies or like he stays behind, and I was like, oh, okay, because like that was I turned to Caitlin, I'm like, well, Roland in the game has like a pretty significant death, you know, and it's kind of like it's meaningful when it occurs. And I'm like, I'm wondering if they're gonna do it, and then that kind of happens, and I was like, oh, okay, well, huh. And then he just like gets up later, and he says the weirdest line of the movie, which is something like "strangest orgy I've ever been to," or something like that. When he gets up, and I was just like
something like that,
and I was
really
just like, huh?
weird.
I was like, what?
It was like that does feel like a Borderlands line, but maybe not from Roland.
Also, like,
and maybe not in that context.
Yeah. I
was really wishing that they would have had the Catch a Ride people in it.
Oh yeah, they were at the end.
I saw her at the end. Yeah, I saw her at least.
Yeah, because they're Moxie's kids, right?
Yeah. They also had they casted Hammerlock and Wainwright Jacobs, but they weren't in it. I think they got cut.
Yeah, because they had like significant actor playing, like a semi-significant actor playing Wainwright.
Yeah, I think it was the guy from
Cheyenne Jackson,
who's in 30 Rock in like the first season or two. I can't remember his name. You'd recognize him if you saw him.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, like you were talking about like looking at this without having like the Borderlands history knowledge and like playing through those video games. Like, okay, I love Cate Blanchett and everything else she's ever done that I've seen. This movie, she just like seems so bored. Like she did not want to be there. Like it didn't even feel like it was on character. It's just like she was there for the money.
Well, it's just like she's just such a. It's like, oh, Cate Blanchett's going to be the star in this comedy action movie. Like even that alone is like, wait, who? You know what I mean? Like that's
She went from Tar to this.
Yeah, it's not her. Like the closest she's like. The only other character that comes close to this that I can think of is like from the Lord of the Rings, Galadriel. You know what I mean? Like, and this is nothing like that. Wait, that's not her, is it? Yeah, it is. Okay, I had a moment of panic.
Way better voiceover, like opening credits and The Fellowship. Like so much, like when she did the voiceover at the beginning of this movie, I'm like, she is looking at the paper and just reading it. Dude, like, not even reading it well. Like this is the first go through.
I kept shouting at the screen, "Stop telling me what I'm seeing." Like it was so frustrating. She's like, and then I met some psychos, and then it's just like, and then I did this, and I was wondering this. It's like, and then she says the line that she was wondering. You're like, what are you doing? Shut up. Oh, I hated it.
Yeah.
All right. So I feel like we're at a point.
We're there. Yeah.
So Phil, if you were to give this a rating, what would it be?
Give me a second.
While you think of this, I'm just going to make one more comment. Moxie is a beloved side character in these games, and Gina Gershon's a great actress, and they just did her so dirty in that role. She did it real bad.
Moxie did not have Moxie.
Yeah, no Moxie.
Yeah, she was like, that was the weird thing. All of the stuff about like Cate Blanchett's character's mom and crap. It was just like, one of the things I wrote down is backstory isn't story. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, I don't, like, her backstory became the whole story. And I was like, that's stuff that, like, you get, but, like, we're just like, oh, what happened in her past? I'm like, I don't care what happened to her. Yeah, it was no good.
Her whole life without realizing she had siren powers. Like,
well, that was the other thing that I found very annoying was, like, Lilith in the game like has siren powers from the get-go. That's like what she does. She's a siren. These are known things, and so for her to not have that power was sort of like, oh, okay, so like she's like an entirely new, different character rewrite sort of thing. And so like if you know the story, when she gets her power at the end, you're like, well, this should have been here the whole time. It doesn't feel it feels Phil, what you got?
I'm going to give this movie a 0 out of 5. I wish this never existed.
Wow. Okay. Craig, what would you give this one?
I'm not going to be as harsh as Phil. I'll give this a 1 out of 5. No, seriously. This isn't 15 years. This is a kid who saw this and they're like, no, it has layers. You don't really understand the subtext going on.
You just don't get it, man. This is a cult classic.
Yeah.
They're like really saying something about the times we grew up in.
Yeah.
You just had to be there.
Jack, what would you give this?
0.5 out of 5. Don't want to give it a full 0, but I don't know if it deserves a 1 of, we'll give it, at least Resident Evil movies are fun.
Craig, what did you give it?
I gave it a 1.
Yeah, so I'm going to give this movie, oh boy, I need, 2. Oh, I guess Claptrap is just R2D2 now. Out of 5. Because I give 2 to me is sort of my worst score because I wish I hated this movie. I wish I despised it, but I fully expect to remember absolutely nothing about it come tomorrow. This movie will be out of my brain so fast because literally there is nothing to it.
That's fair.
It's like eating a meal of iceberg lettuce. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing to it. And to me, it was like, it's not so egregiously bad. It becomes interesting again. You know, you just feel the corporate overlords on top of it. And it just feels like a money cash grab and it makes me sick to my stomach.
I think I really
ran for Borderlands if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's almost
yeah.
There's something there. I wish this movie had gotten made had started getting made right now and started getting cast right now, because I think after Fallout, I think this would have been a completely different movie.
Yeah.
Seeing that you could make a beloved franchise and it not be like, we have to make the story of the game. This would have been a Borderlands movie, not a movie that is Borderlands the story. This would have been a movie in the Borderlands universe, and it wouldn't have been a story necessarily with the main characters, which would have felt more in line with the games themselves.
Yeah,
it would have maybe been a story about 4 new Vault Hunters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would be so easy to make a movie set in the Borderlands world. You know what I mean?
Do a heist movie like this with new Vault Hunters.
Yeah.
Show some old characters doing a goofy thing like meeting these characters, giving them advice, or trying to kill them or something.
Yeah, like you don't even need Roland or any of those characters at all, because those characters are all involved in the Handsome Jack thing, which, you know, they and like I said, mention. Yeah, have them maybe be mentioned or whatever, but they're not even relevant. Like, it's weird because they were the main characters in the first game, but they're not even relevant in the first game, you know, because you can take them all out by design, because you can pick whoever you want and it makes no effect, you know.
What are the other two characters' names of the first game?
And Mordecai.
I was when I found out Mordecai wasn't in it, who was always my guy.
Yep.
I was just like,
I was sad.
Dang it. Mordecai was always who I was.
Yep.
You know?
I was Roland.
Yeah, that makes sense for you.
Mm-hmm.
That feels
I've always
right.
played as the Sirens.
I've never played as the Sirens because I by instinct avoid magic users, because I always feel like you have to read their abilities more than you have to people who just shoot guns, and I can't be bothered to read while playing video games. Are you kidding me?
Oh.
Fair.
This is why you struggle at parts and get stuck, is because you went through all the dialogue chains.
Yeah, I'm not good at video games for a reason. All right,
God.
So that was that movie.
Yeah. What's
It's my.
What you got for us, Will?
Are you wait? Are you punishing us? Are you punishing me for? Are you getting back at me?
No, I'm going to pick a movie that has been on my list for a while that I want to rewatch. And it's Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, which I think is on Disney Plus. Hopefully, somewhere simple.
I own it, so he can just
okay.
watch my
Well, so
copy.
Phil's the only one who's got to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, screw Phil, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, man,
He'll
if
have
you
to-
just would
he'll
live
have to
here.
watch it on. I'm working on it.
I think it's on Disney Plus. Anyways, yeah, no, I watched that movie a while ago, like maybe 7 years ago, and I was like expecting one thing and was just pleasantly surprised the whole time. And I want to give it a rewatch, and I thought it'd be an interesting movie to chat about.
Phil, we watched this together, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you guys have all seen it before?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
I'm excited to do a rewatch.
Yeah.
Jack, have you seen this one?
Mm-mm. No, I haven't.
All right.
Well,
gonna
maybe you'll
convince you
come
to
back
watch
on
it.
next week. Speaking of Jack, thanks for coming on the episode. It's always
Yeah,
fun.
Thank you.
We
So
appreciate.
question, is this the worst movie I've made you guys watch now? Or is Cats still the worst one?
No, this is worse.
This movie was worse than Cats. Cats I kind of liked.
Yeah. What about Island of Dr. Moreau?
This is on
No.
par with the Island of Dr. Moreau,
Okay.
but I think the Island of Dr. Moreau, because just the sheer fact that Marlon Brando was in it, puts it higher than this movie.
Yeah, because he
Fair
was
enough.
actually really good in it.
He was like, it was funny because we were like, you hear all the stories about like how much of a drama queen he was on that one, and then you like watch him act, and you're like, oh god, it kind of feels worth it.
Yeah.
You know? Whoa, wow, holy cow. Anyways,
The price of brilliance.
Okay, I'll do my
well,
thing.
thanks for coming on, Jack.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
I
you're
will.
welcome.
When do I see you next?
Never.
Okay. Well,
She's
that's a real
leaving the
bummer.
house after this.
Oh.
Vince and I are gonna just move to Michigan. You can just chill here to the house cells.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I am not.
Well,
I will
nobody asked you,
try.
Phil.
Oh.
That's
all
the
right,
new
let's do
title
that.
of our podcast.
Nobody asked you,
Yeah.
Phil.
That feels about
Yeah.
right.
Okay, I'll do my thing. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. If you want to tell us what the worst video game adaptation that you've seen is and why it is also Borderlands. And hopefully you haven't
Yeah.
seen this. I mean, again, I am so sorry that you had to pay money for this, Phil.
I had to pay double money.
You did.
You did.
That's my own fault.
You offered.
I did.
This episode was brought to you by Jac Kessel. Wow. Fancy that. If you're interested in hearing your name shouted outed and want to help support us, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/mumbleandshrug.
If you like what you heard, consider leaving a review on any of the platforms that we are on. Give us a like, a subscribe, smash that follow button. Give us a Patreon,
Mhm.
Patron,
Mhm.
Patronus, Expecto Patronus.
What's happening? Are you finished?
That's all for this episode. I'm Phil Kessel.
I'm Will Chodas.
And I'm Craig Norland.
I'm Jac Kessel.
Don't watch this movie. Pretend this didn't happen.
Yeah.
We're gonna erase this episode. Go play Borderlands.
Yeah.
You're
do
not gonna
that.
hear this anyways because we're erasing this episode.
That's true.
Just go
Yeah.
play the Borderlands video games because they're very good. Also, come play those games with me and with Jack. We both love to play those games. We'll play through them again. They're very good.
Yeah, on
We
the
love them.
Switch.
We'll play
Huh?
through them,
Huh? Because that's what I have.
but you'll
it on.
never hear this.
I'll play with it on the Switch.
Do you own it on the Switch?
No, but we can
No,
buy it.
But it's
Alright.
always on sale.
Yeah, it is. That's
We
true.
just
Um,
we own the games on too many things. We'll just buy them.
Brought to you by Mumble and Shrug Productions.